I never imagined I would be documenting something so surreal, but here I am, chronicling an account that defies logic. The Voyager 1, our most distant spacecraft, has encountered an unexpected fate. It has crash-landed on an alien planet. What should have been a milestone in the history of space exploration has devolved into a nightmare. When I received the first images, my heart raced with a mix of excitement and dread. The landscape was otherworldly. Twisted, angular formations jutted out from a dense, shimmering fog that seemed to pulsate with a life of its own. Shadows danced at the periphery of the visuals, leaving me paralyzed with fear. What were those shapes lurking just beyond the haze? As the data streamed in, the onboard instruments began to pick up strange signals, a rhythmic echo reverberating through the atmosphere. Instinctively, I felt that this was not mere cosmic noise. It was as if something were trying to communicate, but the purpose remained elusive. Each transmission heightened my anxiety. The tension grew with every pixel of data. What lay hidden beneath that restless mist? The thought of encountering life in this bizarre realm sent chills down my spine, but I also feared that we might have awakened something that should have remained undisturbed. With each new image, the mystery deepened, and one question consumed my thoughts. What did we truly find? What had we released upon landing here? The planet, which I would later name Thalaxia, was a place of contradictions. Its surface was a kaleidoscope of colors, with iridescent blues and greens intermingling with dark, ominous shadows. The air was thick with an unidentifiable haze, and the ground felt alive, pulsating underfoot, as if it had a heartbeat. Thalaxia was not just an alien world. It was a living entity, an enigma waiting to be unraveled. As I delved deeper into the data, I discovered that the signals from Thalaxia had a peculiar pattern, resembling a form of language. The rhythmic echoes seemed to beckon, drawing me closer to the truth. Every instinct told me to proceed with caution, yet the allure of discovery overwhelmed my fears. What secrets did this planet hold? And what consequences awaited those who dared to uncover them? This was no longer just a mission. It was a race against time. I needed to understand Thalaxia before it was too late. The shadows in the images haunted me, whispering of dangers unknown, and I resolved to uncover the truth behind the signals and the eerie landscape. Little did I know, the journey ahead would test the very limits of reason and humanity. Thalaxia was a planet that existed in a delicate balance between beauty and terror. Its surface was marked by jagged cliffs and flowing rivers of luminescent liquid that glowed in vivid shades of green and purple. The atmosphere, thick and swirling with mist, obscured the horizon and cast an unsettling pall over the landscape. It was a world that felt both inviting and hostile, teetering on the edge of something sinister. As I sifted through the images and data, I became increasingly aware of the people back on Earth who had dedicated their lives to the exploration of the cosmos. Among them was Dr. Elena Vargas, the lead scientist on the Voyager project. A brilliant astrophysicist with a fierce passion for discovery, Elena had always pushed the boundaries of what was known. Her enthusiasm was infectious, but as I relayed the troubling findings from Thalaxia, I could sense her growing concern. Then there was Marcus, the mission's communications officer, who had a knack for deciphering complex codes. His excitement about the alien signals was palpable, but as the data poured in, his demeanor shifted from exhilaration to trepidation. If this is a form of communication, we need to be cautious, he warned, the weight of his words heavy in the silence that followed. The crew's camaraderie was tested as the reality of Thalaxia set in. Each member faced their own fears and uncertainties, and the shadows of doubt crept in. What had they truly stumbled upon? The deeper they delved into the mysteries of Thalaxia, the more they realized that the answers they sought might come at a cost. As the unknown loomed closer, I felt the gravity of our mission weigh heavily on my shoulders. This was not just about exploration. It was about survival against an unfathomable force. As the days turned into weeks, the situation on Thalaxia grew increasingly dire. The initial excitement of discovery quickly morphed into a desperate struggle for understanding and survival. The rhythmic signals that once intrigued us now felt like a foreboding warning, resonating through the very core of our beings. The planet's secrets would test our limits, pushing us to confront not only the unknown, but the very essence of our humanity. The turning point arrived on a night fraught with tension. As I monitored the signals from Voyager 1, I noticed a sudden, intense spike in activity on the screen. The rhythmic echoes that had become a haunting lullaby transformed into a cacophony of dissonant sounds, almost like a chorus of anguished voices. The eerie resonance vibrated through my bones, sending chills down my spine. Could we be communicating with an intelligent life form, or had we inadvertently disturbed something ancient and malevolent? The atmosphere in our makeshift command center shifted palpably. Tensions rose as paranoia crept in, fueled by the strange occurrences that began to plague the crew. Equipment malfunctioned inexplicably, and the shadows at the edges of our vision became more pronounced. Sleep deprivation only exacerbated the situation, leading to heated arguments and distrust among team members. Marcus, once enthusiastic, grew increasingly withdrawn, convinced that the shadows were more than mere figments of our imagination. As I delved deeper into the signals, I uncovered references to the Watchers within the data, an ancient entity that seemed to guard Thalaxia. The implications were chilling. Had we awoken a guardian of this world? As I shared my findings with the crew, their faces mirrored my own dread. We were no longer simply explorers. We had become intruders in a domain that was never meant for us. One night, while monitoring the signals, I noticed a sudden spike in activity. The rhythmic echoes transformed into dissonant screams that reverberated through the module. Panic surged as the lights flickered, and the shadows coalesced into dark forms, flitting just beyond our reach. It was a turning point. The planet itself was reacting to our presence, and we were left with a chilling realization. We might not escape Thalaxia unscathed. As the main conflict escalated, several subplots began to intertwine with the overarching narrative of survival against Thalaxia's enigmatic forces. One significant subplot revolved around the strained relationship between Elena and Marcus. Once colleagues united by their passion for exploration, the mounting pressure from the planet's mysteries began to fracture their bond. Could we be communicating with an intelligent life form, or had we inadvertently disturbed something ancient and malevolent? The atmosphere in our makeshift command center shifted palpably. Tensions rose as paranoia crept in, fueled by the strange occurrences that began to plague the crew. Equipment malfunctioned inexplicably, and the shadows at the edges of our vision became more pronounced. Sleep deprivation only exacerbated the situation, leading to heated arguments and distrust among team members. As the team leader, I felt responsible for keeping morale high, but the constant dread of the unknown weighed heavily on me. I began to question whether my decisions were truly for the crew's benefit or driven by my own insatiable curiosity. This internal conflict created moments of vulnerability that I had to navigate, especially when the crew turned to me for guidance. The mysterious shadows also took on a form of their own, serving as a haunting reminder of our precarious situation. Crew members reported experiencing nightmares and visions of dark figures, further eroding trust and unity. The psychological toll of Thalaxia's eerie environment acted as a catalyst for the unraveling of our group dynamics, creating a tense atmosphere where every interaction felt charged with suspicion. As the complexities of human emotions clashed with the alien world we faced, it became increasingly clear that the true conflict was not just against Thalaxia itself, but also within ourselves. The planet's secrets would test our limits, pushing us to confront not only the unknown, but the very essence of our humanity. the turning point arrived on a night fraught with tension. As I monitored the signals from Voyager 1, I noticed a sudden, intense spike in activity on the screen. The rhythmic echoes that had become a haunting lullaby transformed into a cacophony of dissonant sounds, almost like a chorus of anguished voices. The eerie resonance vibrated through my bones, sending chills down my spine. It was as if the very essence of Thalaxia was awakening, responding to our intrusion. "Everyone, come quick!" I shouted, urgency lacing my voice. Elena and Marcus rushed to the control panel, their faces pale with apprehension. "Look," I pointed at the screen, where waveforms and spectrograms danced chaotically. "It's like they're communicating." The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. This was no longer just data. It was a warning. As we gathered around the panel, a sudden tremor shook the ground beneath us. The lights flickered, and shadows in the corners of the room seemed to ripple and stretch like living things. "We need to get out of here," Marcus yelled, panic rising in his voice. But I was frozen, caught between the urge to flee and the desperate need to understand what was happening. "Wait. We can't just abandon the data now," I argued, my voice rising over the growing chaos. But as I looked into their eyes, I saw fear reflected back at me. The shadows outside our module thickened, swirling in the mist like dark tendrils reaching for us. The air felt charged, heavy with unspoken threats. Suddenly, the view outside the module shifted. The thick fog parted for a brief moment, revealing a towering figure, an otherworldly silhouette against the swirling mist. It was massive, with elongated limbs and a shimmering surface that seemed to absorb the light. The Watcher, the entity we had inadvertently disturbed, stood before us, a guardian of this alien realm. In that moment, time slowed. I realized we had crossed an invisible line, and there was no turning back. The Watcher's presence was both magnificent and terrifying, and I understood that our exploration had awakened something ancient and powerful. The true conflict was no longer just our survival. It was a reckoning with an entity that had been watching us all along. The aftermath of the encounter with the Watcher was immediate and disorienting. The module was plunged into chaos as the crew grappled with the enormity of what had just transpired. I felt a mix of awe and terror as the realization settled in. We were not merely visitors on Thalaxia. We had become part of its narrative, entwined with a force far beyond our understanding. Elena, initially steadfast in her belief that knowledge would lead to safety, crumbled under the weight of the encounter. "What have we done?" she whispered, her voice thick with dread. The color drained from her face as the implications of our actions became clear. Marcus, who had been skeptical and withdrawn, now bore a newfound intensity in his gaze. "We need to leave now," he insisted, urgency flooding his voice. Panic spread like wildfire through our team. The shadows outside seemed to grow thicker, swirling ominously around our module. The once familiar landscape of Thalaxia transformed into a nightmarish realm, and trust among the crew began to erode. Arguments erupted over the next course of action, with some advocating for immediate evacuation, while others, including myself, felt a compelling need to understand the Watcher's purpose. As I stood in the center of the chaos, I felt the weight of my leadership pressing down on me. The decisions we made in the coming moments would shape not only our survival, but also the fate of our mission. The lines between exploration and intrusion blurred, and I knew that we had awakened something that would test the very limits of our humanity. How we reacted to this entity would define our legacy, not just as explorers, but as sentient beings facing the unknown in its most profound and terrifying form. In the aftermath of our encounter with the Watcher, we found ourselves at a critical juncture. The chaos that had erupted within our module forced us to confront not only the external threat posed by Thalaxia, but also the internal strife that had developed among the crew. Each of us was grappling with fear, guilt, and uncertainty, and it became evident that we needed to unite if we were to survive. I took a deep breath and gathered the crew together in the dimly lit command center. "We can't let our fears divide us," I began, my voice steady but firm. "What we encountered out there was terrifying, yes, but it also presents an opportunity. We need to understand the Watcher, not just as a threat, but as a part of this world. We must learn to communicate." Surprisingly, my words resonated. Elena, still shaken, nodded slowly. "We have to find a way to reach out. We need to show that we mean no harm." With a newfound resolve, the team began to brainstorm ways to interpret the signals we had recorded. We revisited the data, looking for patterns that might reveal the Watcher's intentions. Together, we constructed a rudimentary communication protocol based on the rhythmic echoes we had captured. The goal was to respond to the Watcher, to show it that we sought understanding rather than conflict. As we worked side by side, the tension in the air began to dissipate. Marcus, whose skepticism had previously clouded his judgment, stepped up with ideas that sparked innovation among the crew. Through this collaborative effort, we began to heal from the psychological toll of our experience. As I watched my team transform from a group of frightened individuals into a cohesive unit, I felt a surge of hope. We were no longer just astronauts. We had become ambassadors of humanity, facing the unknown together. In that moment, I realized that true growth often arises from adversity. Our mission had evolved from simple exploration to a profound journey of understanding, pushing us to confront our fears and embrace the potential for connection across the cosmos. As we prepared for the potential confrontation with the Watcher, the atmosphere inside the module shifted from fear to determination. We had decided to attempt communication, but the stakes were high. If we failed, we could provoke a response that might seal our fates on this alien world. With the rhythmic patterns from the signals mapped out, we set to work creating a series of light and sound sequences intended to convey our peaceful intent. Elena took charge of the visual component, programming the module's lights to flash in a sequence that mirrored the patterns we had observed. Meanwhile, I focused on the auditory signals, crafting a series of tones that corresponded to the rhythms we'd recorded. As we worked tirelessly, the shadows outside the module seemed to pulse in response, as if the Watcher was observing us, waiting for us to make a move. Each flicker of light and tone emitted felt like a declaration, a plea for understanding. The tension in the air was thick, but we had a shared purpose that unified us. With the communication sequence ready, we gathered for one last briefing. "This is it," I said, looking into the faces of my weary but resolute crew. "We're going to show the Watcher that we come in peace. Remember, it's not just about survival. It's about forging a connection." Marcus, who had been quiet for much of the preparations, finally spoke up. "If the Watcher is as ancient as we think, it might recognize our willingness to communicate. This could be our chance to learn about this world and its history." His insight sparked a renewed sense of urgency among us. As the moment approached, we all took a deep breath, steeling ourselves for the unknown. The module was silent except for the soft whir of machinery, and the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. We activated the communication sequence, sending our carefully crafted message into the pulsating fog that enveloped Thalasha. As the lights flashed and the sounds echoed into the unknown, we held our breath, waiting for a response. The future of our mission, and perhaps our very lives, hung in the balance, teetering on the precipice of the unknown. As the final tones of our communication sequence faded into the thick, pulsating fog, an unsettling silence enveloped the module. We stood together, hearts pounding, our breaths shallow as we waited for the Watcher's response. The shadows outside danced ominously, the atmosphere thick with tension. Then, without warning, the ground beneath us trembled, sending vibrations through the module. A low frequency resonated in the air, a sound that felt like a heartbeat, deep, rhythmic, and powerful. It was as if Thalaxia itself was responding to our call. The shadows coalesced, forming a massive, swirling figure that emerged from the mist. Its presence both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The Watcher loomed before us, its elongated limbs shimmering with an ethereal glow. For a moment, time stood still. I felt a connection, a recognition that transcended fear. We had decided to attempt communication, but the stakes were high. If we failed, we could provoke a response that might seal our fates on this alien world. With the rhythmic patterns from the signals mapped out, we set to work creating a series of light and sound sequences intended to convey our peaceful intent. Educate yourself about the importance of empathy in our interactions with potential extraterrestrial life. Advocate for funding and research that prioritize ethical exploration of other worlds. Together, we can ensure that humanity approaches the unknown not with fear, but with curiosity and respect. Visit our website to learn more about upcoming missions, educational resources, and how you can contribute to a future where exploration and understanding go hand in hand. The universe is vast, and there's so much to discover together. We were sharing a profound connection. The Watcher seemed to absorb our signals, weaving them into its own. The shadows began to recede, revealing glimpses of the alien landscape, a vibrant world teeming with life and history. Previously hidden from our view, we stood united, watching as the Watcher communicated back with a sequence of light and sound, bridging the chasm between our worlds. It was a moment of understanding, a testament to the power of connection in the vast universe, and a new chapter in our exploration of Thalaxia. In the aftermath of our encounter with the Watcher, we forged a fragile alliance with the enigmatic being of Thalaxia. What began as a terrifying ordeal transformed into a journey of understanding and discovery. The shadows that once haunted us faded, replaced by the vibrant colors of a world rich with possibilities. We learned that fear can give way to connection, and through communication, we began unraveling the mysteries of this alien realm. Together, we embraced the unknown, ready to explore the depths of Thalaxia and uncover the secrets it held for humanity. Months later, back at NASA, the data we collected from Thalaxia reshaped our understanding of extraterrestrial life. The Watcher's signals became a cornerstone for new communication technologies, allowing us to refine our approach to exploring distant worlds. As I stood before a new team of astronauts, I shared our story, how fear turned into connection, and how the unknown became a bridge to understanding. Our mission was no longer just about exploration. It was about forging relationships across the cosmos. We had opened a door to a new era of discovery, one where communication and empathy are paramount. Join the movement to explore the cosmos with compassion and understanding. Support initiatives that promote peaceful communication and cooperation in space exploration. Educate yourself about the importance of empathy in our interactions with potential extraterrestrial life. Advocate for funding and research that prioritize ethical exploration of other worlds. Together, we can ensure that humanity approaches the unknown not with fear, but with curiosity and respect. Visit our website to learn more about upcoming missions, educational resources, and how you can contribute to a future where exploration and understanding go hand in hand. The universe is vast, and there's so much to discover together.